Welcome everyone to the Power Core Podcast, where we discuss, review, and fanboy over anything and everything Marvel Strike Force. Now, get ready for two of the most mediocre gamers in the cosmos. It's your hosts, Hebrew Hammer and the Irishman.
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Power Core Podcast, episode number 6. I am your host, as always, Hebrew Hammer, and I'm with my co-host, Irish.
Hey, everyone.
And then we have a newcomer today, a special guest host. We have Jangles.
Hello, millions of adoring fans. It's great to be here. We're at a million, right?
We're at, I think, 2 million, I think is what we're going to now.
Give or take a million.
So we got a pretty decently long episode for you this time. It's going to be more on the 45-ish minute mark. I don't think it'll bypass that, but we'll see. If we're all yelling at each other at the end from this, then we'll probably go past 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyways, Irish, so what's on the schedule for today?
So the schedule for today is we got news. So regarding the Payday event, the Iron Man event has ended, and then
or is ending in a couple or 2 days.
2 days.
2 days.
Okay, it's over for me. And then there was a Marvel Insider gift that hopefully everyone saw in their inbox. After the news, we'll talk about some upcoming changes to the game, including some new characters.
Oh, yeah.
The controversy behind the cash in the game currently with the
cash offers.
Cash offers. And then the newcomer gold change, which I know that's pretty controversial.
Yeah.
We'll dive into that. And then the welcome back gift for select players, another controversial. And then we're going to do our character deep dive this week is going to be Baron Mordo.
All right.
Yeah, and we've got DM Jangles here to help us dive into Mordo. He has Mordo currently.
Yeah, the only one of us that does.
Yeah, so and then we'll round it off with our question of the day.
That's right. All right. Well, so then the first one you said was the Payday event. Right?
Payday, yes.
All right. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive in with the Payday event. I'm glad, first of all, that they finally brought it back again because.
Well, and that was relatively quick.
It was.
It was gone for maybe 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's just I know we mentioned this, we touched on it last time at least, but the Payday event I assumed would be pretty close to what the Credit Heist event is for
Star
Wars.
Yeah.
And that definitely comes around more often than this has so far.
Oh, okay.
Now, I think that they might, or at least I hope that they probably will speed that up.
Yeah.
I also think that it might just be, since there's not a lot of events yet, they have to keep releasing more events in order to create a real rotation. We might get Payday, even though this sounds weird, but we might get Payday event fatigue, where it's just we see it too often. So,
hey, as long as they keep giving me gold, I'm not going to get fatigued for a long time.
Yeah, I know, getting gold in the process.
Yeah.
You can never really get tired of that.
That's the one event that I want to see more often than any other event is Payday. So,
well, so then regarding that, how are your guys' mercenary teams looking?
Oh yeah, well,
I'm sitting at. I've got Deadpool at 22K, so he's sitting pretty. And then right after that, I have Bullseye, and then I have Korath, and then after that, Mercenary Lieutenant, and then Riot Guard.
Now, are they all? How many stars do you have on these guys?
So I've got 5 stars on Deadpool. And here, let me just go ahead and pull it up just so I make sure I know exactly what I'm saying. But yeah, I've got 5 stars on Deadpool. I've got 3 stars on Bullseye, 2 on Korath, 2 on Mercenary Lieutenant, and then 2 on Mercenary Riot Guard. So I've been trying my best to farm those last 3 guys, try to get them up to at least 3 stars so I can get that next gold offer.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the guys I've settled on. I did some research into Mercenary Soldier. Didn't hear any exciting stuff about him. And Mercenary Sniper, people were saying he's super squishy. So
yeah,
I was kind of like
a lot of damage, but yeah, he usually dies pretty quick.
Yeah.
Really?
I do target him whenever I see him because he does do a lot of damage. But yeah,
really. Well, yeah, and
on a minion-based team, I target him.
I know Mercenary Riot Guard is super reliable protector. He's the only protector.
That was one that surprised me. Is usually I tend to think that minions are really weak, but now I'm learning Mercenary Lieutenant's phenomenal. Yeah. Mercenary Riot Guard's pretty viable.
Yeah.
And obviously, Hand Sentry's not going to be on this team, but he's really good too.
Yeah, even Ravager Bruiser he's a pretty surprisingly good tank too. I mean, he's not going to be he's not top tier with Hand Sentry or anything like that. Mercenary Lieutenant, but he's pretty reliable at least for a fodder blitz team to get your multiplier up.
But yeah, from the research that I've done, that lineup that I just said is pretty much the go-to mercenary lineup right now. So
yeah, I mean, I think
granted, it only excludes there's only two more mercenaries besides that.
So.
Yeah. For me, I obviously it's super similar, but I have Deadpool, Korath, Bullseye, Mercenary Lieutenant, and Mercenary Soldier, but that's just because I have so many shards. I'm almost at 4 shards for him, or at 4 stars.
Oh wow!
And I haven't even farmed him once. So
oh wow, okay.
So the only one that isn't, I have all of them at 3 stars or above, except for Mercenary Lieutenant, who's at 45 out of 55 right now.
Okay.
So he's going to be there tomorrow.
I have a feeling they may do some offers here soon regarding
mercenaries. I will not grab an offer for a minion. I'll never grab an offer for a minion. But yeah, what about you, Jingles?
It's pretty much the exact same team I have. I doubt I'll break into 3 stars though. I'm 2 stars on everyone right now.
Yeah, just so you guys know, he did start a little bit after us, so he is a little bit further behind us.
A full month, right?
Yeah.
Turns out all you have to do is spend $250 and you can catch up
with
everyone.
But yeah, so I'm glad that they brought back the payday event though.
Yeah, and with that payday event, they are doing double drops on mercenary characters.
Yeah.
So make sure you are farming those mercs. What were the dates on the double drop?
It's today.
Started today?
Oh, yeah, well actually...
What does that go to?
It ends for our time zone, it ends at 7 o'clock today.
So we're Central Standard Time, so
yeah.
If that gives you any idea as far as the timing on it. But
yeah,
so make sure you put aside everything else right now and try to farm those mercenaries.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they do these double drop events whenever there's any kind of event that correlates to a specific type of group.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they do that. That's actually something that Star Wars does not do.
Oh, really?
They do double drop events, but it's not as common as it had been here so far, at least.
Huh.
But anyways, yeah. So let's go ahead and move on to the
all right. So the Iron Man event is ending here soon.
Yeah, not much to say on this one.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is once you complete the battles that you need to complete, you're just kind of stuck until you farm up another star on each one of your shield characters. So it's for me. I mean, I got to 2 stars on all my shield characters.
Right.
So I'm just going to wait till the next Iron Man event, and hopefully by then I'll have 3 stars on all my shield characters.
What did you get to, Jangles?
3 stars actually.
3 stars?
I early on for whatever reason I farmed up my minions really high, and so I ended up actually with a really decent shield team and got pretty far. I was a little frustrated though, when you do the 3-star node in the event, it's so easy. You realize you can totally probably make it up to 5 or 6, but you just don't have the stars to do it.
Yeah, you can legitimately have one person that's high and carry the entire team.
Yeah.
I myself also got up to the 3rd tier of it, but
we have a couple of people in our alliance that got Iron Man.
So. Badger, if you're listening right now, we're talking about you.
Yeah.
I think he made Iron Man to 6 stars.
Wow. Oh wow.
Yeah, I think he might even ended off on the 7-star one.
Oh wow. So, well, and the main thing about these events is they are going to come back around.
Yeah.
So a lot of people. I guess people just it hasn't sunk in yet, but
some people also. I mean, I think some of it is people just don't know that they're going to come back because they don't have experience with some of their games or whatever, or they're not on a community forum.
Yeah, and maybe that's on the communication from the developers.
I mean, I think that it's important. And I don't. Granted, they might have said something. I really don't think that they have about it coming back, but. Yeah, I mean, it should be assumed that they don't expect everyone, certainly not the majority, to have. Set a 5-7 star shield character.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, I think that's fine, and I don't think I'll ever get. I really just have a problem leveling up minions that don't do much.
Mm-hmm.
So I might just wait until they release more shield characters that actually mean something.
Yeah.
Because I'm not. I would like Iron Man, but I'm not in a rush to get him.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and there's no way I'm going to sink all my resources into a bunch of shield minions
Exactly,
to make it happen.
So like the 3-star is kind
But
of where
this-
I'm going.
you know-
That's exactly what I did. Not going to do it
But
again.
now that you know.
now that I actually understand what I'm doing.
But this is the long game. This is
Yeah.
end game for people is to take their time and farm up those
Yeah.
those heavy hitters like Iron Man. And,
Yeah, I mean, it gives you something to
Yeah.
work towards. That's the whole point of the game. It's supposed to be a slow grind.
And expect many more of these kind of events to come forward.
Yeah,
with
we already
new
know
releases.
Rocket is going to be coming through with an event. We already know that what's his name? Nick Fury is going to be coming through with
Is
an event.
Nobu coming through an event?
Yeah, I think he actually is through an event as well. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think he is.
Yeah.
Obviously, a hand team event.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, there's tons of events. Even if you look through the data mine, which we'll probably go over maybe next episode or something, do a full breakdown of the data mine that happened a while ago.
Unless something big happens between now and then. but
That might be nice because there's a lot of information there, and most of it's come true, and so a lot of those events are kind of listed there.
Well, and let us know if you guys got Iron Man or how close you
How
are.
far
if
you
you're,
got.
if you're right there at the edge, or if you're like us and you kind of just decided to take your time.
Or if you want to brag about it, and
if you want to brag about it,
how
feel
you
free to
have it,
brag
and we
about it,
don't.
but definitely super cool that they're doing these events. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
All right.
So I'm sure a lot of you guys in your inbox, you should have gotten a letter from Marvel talking about a Marvel Insider gift.
Yeah.
And I did a little research on it. I went ahead and signed up for it.
Same. Yeah.
And what it looks like to me is it's kind of like a fan feedback kind of center where you can sign up for different Marvel games and different Marvel surveys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And kind of go through and you earn points. And those points can translate to cores in the game. I know the thing that caught my eye was the 450 core offer they were saying. But once I signed up, I realized, oh, wait, they want feedback from me and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
you have to do something.
Yeah, I have to do something. I can't just give them my email.
Yeah, that immediately turned me off.
So I dropped it, and I'll come back to it.
I probably will do it. And just so you guys know, for those of you, I know a lot of people have actually already completed the amount of points necessary. You need 40,000 points to get it. The reward does not come until July 20th, I believe. You won't. It says that you won't see it in your inbox until then.
Yeah. So it's going to be a minute.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people on Reddit asking about where's my cores? I did it.
But make sure you sign up for that if you're a Marvel fanboy like the rest of us, and provide feedback and get free stuff essentially.
Yeah, it's basically like $5 or so worth of cores.
Yeah.
So why not?
You take it. So.
All right.
But so that moves us on to the main topics. The first one we're going to talk about is the announcement regarding 2 new characters coming to the Strike Force. And those 2 characters, I'm sure everyone already knew they were coming, but is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
That's right.
So, I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited. I love the dual character releases. The whole synergy, just like with Cable and Deadpool, I'm super excited about the synergy and the action sequences that play out between Ant-Man and the Wasp. Just the whole shrinking and getting big. I assume that they're going to have Giant Man be some part of it. That would be
Giant Ant-Man?
Yeah. But I'm super excited about it. What do you guys think?
I'm glad they're coming out with them. Obviously, I kind of knew this was coming, as most of us did.
Yeah.
It seems like every movie is going to be tied with an event.
As it should.
And so that does make sense.
Seize on the hype.
Right, but I do especially like it that they are releasing characters with synergy. And I know I even mentioned that last time. Like, I really enjoy whenever we have these characters that kind of have like even especially the animations between the two, where it's a different animation based on you having those 2 characters in the same group. And
I like the dual character synergies in particular because that gives me the freedom to choose what team I want to put them on.
Yeah,
right?
you don't need a whole team.
Exactly. Where like with the Avengers buffs, it's like, okay, I have to find a team of 5 Avengers to really optimize and get the most out of it. This, it's like, okay, I can focus on 2 characters and then I can move them to this team or this team depending on what I feel like. So it's not it gives you a little bit more creativity when it comes to that.
Right.
So,
and I know for you, Jangles, you missed the cable event.
Yep.
So you didn't get. You don't have that duo synergy.
I think I got like 4 cable shards during the entire thing. So since I joined so late, I actually didn't really get to participate in the event. Is this going to be a similar format, like the same game size? Is it going to be a blitz or a raid, or do we know?
they haven't told us specifics on it, but
probably a blitz and an event.
The hunch is it's going to be probably going to be an Ant-Man raid, where you can farm Ant-Man orbs and. Redeem those orbs, and then I think putting the Wasp in the blitz.
Yeah.
So
I do think it would be cool. I'm getting, not that I'm sick of it, but I think it would be interesting to kind of change it up with how we get characters. So far, the only way that we've really seen characters come out is blitz and event.
Yeah.
And I don't know how else they would do it so far, because those are like 2 of the only mechanics, I guess, for the game to deliver characters in. But I don't know, I just feel like it gets a little tiresome always knowing that it's going to come through the blitz and always knowing that it's going to come through the events.
I wouldn't be, honestly, like when it comes to these big characters, I wouldn't be against having a Ant-Man and Wasp single orb, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I get 3 different amounts of shards of only Ant-Man, but sometimes I only get 3 of the Wasp, but most of the time I'm getting some Ant-Man and some of the Wasp in the orb. I think that would be a little bit better, mainly because the blitz can get you can get blitz fatigue pretty quickly,
right?
And it makes it super competitive whenever it's one of those big name characters. So the tiers go up tremendously, as we saw with Cable, and so I wouldn't be against them, when it comes to these new characters and people who really want to have 2 teams of, at least 3 stars apiece. It'd be cool if they just moved it to the raid being the entire event, and maybe focus a little more on the raid and make it a little bit more exciting. Because we're already doing the blitz, so it becomes monotonous, right?
Yeah.
So.
And I come to think of it. I guess there is one way that they could kind of change it up a little bit, and with Star Wars, their race system is a little different, but I think it'd be cool to implement it here, which is basically you have a couple of different levels of the raid, and it's like it has a giant health pool. Each level has a giant health pool, and everyone joins in, and you have to try to bring down that health pool as much as possible. You're going to die, but the whole point is to bring it down as much as possible.
Boss.
And it even kind of makes it like some of them, especially the newer ones, they even kind of have like a little bit of story, like an actual like cinematic story aspect to it. Whenever they introduce those levels, so I think something like that would actually be pretty cool. And since this game echoes that game so much, I think that it wouldn't be terribly hard to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that would be pretty cool.
Another idea is being able to launch 2 different raids, right? So an event, you have a Ant-Man raid and then a Wasp raid.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And you collect tokens in maybe like 2 different ways, or I mean it could be the same way too, but maybe having 2 separate raids go at a time. I think that would be exciting because I enjoy the raids more than anything in the game right now. Maybe Arena. Arena is pretty up there, but the raid is definitely my go-to right now. So.
Right. Well, are you excited to finally have 2 characters with a synergy?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's going to be awesome.
I think that their moveset together is going to be really cool.
But yeah, get excited, guys. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp right around the corner.
Do we actually have any specifics about their kits? Or
no.
Is it just we just know they're coming?
Yeah, we just know that they're coming. We don't know anything more about them. We'll probably see like a data mine of the character model soon, but that's about it. But with this announcement, they did tell us a few other things that are coming, which will be cool. So we have the chat blocking, which is going to be great. Everyone has been wanting that forever.
Well, that's going to get rid of the bots, right?
Right.
Like, okay.
Yeah, that's the problem right now because they're just infesting global chat, and it's terrible. And then we have Alliance matchmaking improvements. So
that sounds like an Alliance Wars related thing, doesn't it? Alliance matchmaking?
I think Alliance matchmaking goes with at the beginning whenever you start out. It puts you in an alliance.
Oh, okay.
I think it means that. I'm hoping it means what
alliance
you just
Wars.
said.
How do you improve something that's not even implemented yet?
Yeah, that has to be coming soon though. So I'm But the other key thing here is it says and more. So I think that with that comes the level 60 raid. They're going to bump up the level cap. They're going to introduce Alliance War. That's all coming in.
Nerf Yondu. I'm hearing about that. Nerfs to Yondu and maybe who else would Quake? Maybe?
Oh, I mean, there's definitely some people
Crossbones.
that need some nerf. I think a little bit of a damage nerf on Crossbones wouldn't be bad. But
I would not mind riding this sort of like OP wave for a little while longer until I'm like 60, and then they can nerf it after that.
So you want it around long enough for you to profit off
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I really encourage them to do some balancing on some characters. Make Ronin viable.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so, and this is just a suggestion. So, all of us three, we've played League of Legends in the past.
Yeah.
And one of the things that the developers will do is whenever they release these patch notes, they'll kind of give their thoughts behind the patch itself. Yeah. That is something that I would definitely recommend to the Foxnext team is consider, just giving us your thoughts, because that little line of communication could be make or break as far as people understanding, what to do about a certain thing.
Yeah.
So, whenever you guys start tuning things, because I imagine you are going to start getting a little more heavy-handed when it comes to tuning.
Yeah.
Just give us your thoughts. There's nothing wrong with that. So.
Yeah, and I think that actually almost kind of leads into our next thing here, but they really do need to start explaining what they do a little more if they're making kind of dramatic changes like what we're about to go into.
Yeah.
But, what was the next part?
Well, but before you move on, I was going to say on the micro scale, it would also be nice to have some less ambiguous descriptions of abilities.
Yeah.
A lot of times I see myself having to reread abilities multiple times and I still don't understand exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
It's a little bit ambiguous.
Yeah, there's even actually a few miswritten abilities in there.
Really?
I don't remember who I found the other day.
Crossbones, his Hydra passive, or I forgot what it's called, but he gives +5 flat armor to all Hydra allies, which sounds completely inconsequential.
Yeah,
+5.
I think it's supposed to be a percent, but it just says 5.
Yeah.
No, it could be 5.
Just flat. I just feel like that does nothing.
Oh, it does.
Especially
it does nothing.
once your Hydra allies have armor, in excess of
1,000,
2,000.
I think so. You're saying that you think that they must have meant that because otherwise it's so inconsequential.
Yeah,
right.
It's literally
Okay,
nothing.
I agree with you. I think that there's a couple of abilities in this game that Mordo has one, which we'll go into later on. But there's a couple of upgrades in this game where it really doesn't pay out for what you're putting into it. And that is one of them. But yeah, so what's the...
So the next thing is, the next talking point is the controversy behind the cash offers in the game. And so I just want to start off I don't know what exactly is the controversy behind the cash offers. I understand the newcomer gold controversy.
Oh, I'm talking about how people are talking about the prices and the inflation of the prices versus what you get and how there's no good deals and stuff like that. Yeah, I know you and I kind of touched on this ourselves the other day.
Yeah, and I don't want to dive into a whole...
we
endless spiel.
We can get into a little. That's what I was saying earlier. It was like if we're yelling at each other at the end of this. But yeah, no, I think that it's just you brought up some pretty good points.
So my biggest thing is there was a Reddit post a couple days ago, maybe a week or so ago, talking about how these offers are absurdly expensive in order to create some sort of balance within the game. And to kind of create a barrier to entry so that they can segregate the whales from everyone else. And that way whales are competing against whales and dolphins are competing against dolphins and free-to-play people are competing against free-to-play, right? And I'm just going to call BS on that because if they are doing that, I don't think it's on purpose. I think it's just a side effect of what they're doing because ultimately this company wants to make money. And if you're screening, thousands of players from purchasing these deals because you want to, create some sort of balance within the game,
right?
I'm just like, I'm not sold on that at all.
Right.
And I know that is the accepted rationalization behind these current offers, and I don't know. I'm not completely sold on that at all.
Right.
That's my 2 cents. So,
what's your opinion on this, Jingles?
I can see the logic behind sort of raising the prices for these deals to create that separation, but I try to think in terms of extremes to maybe see maybe I can distill some principles from this. But so on the low end, let's say if all these deals were borderline free, then everyone would be buying them, and it might throw off the entire balance of the game because everyone's got every single most powerful character. Well, it actually might make the game more balanced that way. Do you think?
I know what you're saying, but what the problem is that the majority of a game is always free to play.
Right.
So it ends up creating in my opinion, it ends up creating an even bigger barrier between. It ends up.
Let me rephrase that. So if you make everything super cheap, then it encourages the whales to just buy everything possible, and then the whales, I guess, would end up becoming vastly more powerful than everyone else on that end. On the other end, if you made these deals incredibly expensive, so that only the whales can access them, it makes it more fair for everyone that wants to play free to play because it's a level playing field.
Or just occasional casual grabbers.
But then at the same time, you're forced to grind an obscene amount to achieve anything, and then you've got this small cabal of whales that's spending thousands and thousands of dollars, and they're actually powerful. But it's sort of a weird paradigm.
Right. So it's funny how we kind of worked out on this because I'm on one end, Irish is on the other, two opposite ends, and then you're kind of in the middle. So yeah, for me, I personally think that how they're doing it is really good. I've played through a lot of mobile games, and I've stuck around, still playing a lot of them, and I've seen a whole bunch of different types of cash offers in these games, and some of them are definitely more greedy than others, but the more I have, for anyone that plays Naruto Blazing, they probably understand this a little bit more, but they make these offers very easy to grab. It's cheap. You can do like a whole bunch of summons and get a lot of really powerful characters. And for free-to-play people, it makes it incredibly difficult to play anything because they balance the game to still make it challenging. They have to balance it to what I would say at least the biggest portion of people playing are, which are at that point kind of dolphins, like low-end dolphins, I would say. And so it makes it way too hard for any free-to-player to play it. Right? It creates this gap that no one can break, and especially at that point it dissuades newcomers because it looks like you could never do that.
And it also makes it effectively purposeless to try to go free to play because you're never going to be able to.
Because you're never going to do it.
Right, and then on the opposite end, it becomes really hard to grind because everything's so expensive, and so newcomers again can't really progress with the game.
Exactly. And
and if I can interject real quick, so the other consideration to entertain is just keeping it all in perspective, right? So, for instance, I played, I'm sure a lot of you guys have played this game, God of War, that came out. I paid $60 for that game, and I got 50 hours of gameplay that was just incredible, right? Like just an amazing experience. I plan on playing it again on Ultra Hard, whatever it is. But when you start comparing it to Mortal Strike Force, and you're paying $20 for a 2-star, Quake, and you start scaling that up, and you go, okay, so that's 45 shards, right? So the next step is 55 shards. After that, it's 100, and then it goes to 200 and 300, right?
Right.
I mean, you're looking at $150, $200 per character, right? And like, don't get me wrong, like I enjoy the game, I love it, but just whenever I go back and look at the other games that I've experienced throughout my life, I'm just like, I'm kind of in a way, I'm kind of appalled by it, right? Because I'm just like, I'm getting so little for how much money I put into other games, that it's hard for me to justify making those kinds of purchases.
Right,
So.
and I would say to that, because I totally agree with you. When you look at these offers, you're like, I'm getting nothing for tons of money that I have to throw down. But I think that is the whole point. I think that you aren't. That's what's actually really nice about this game for me so far is that this is one of the few games where I have played, especially energy-based grind games, where I play it and you do very well as a free-to-play player. Like you can get the best characters just about as fast as someone that is throwing down money. Maybe not as fast as a whale, but certainly as a dolphin. Like these deals really only help just a tiny bit, and they cost so much money that it really does dissuade people from spending. So it really is only those high spender whales that are doing it, and you end up with this small population at the top, which for Blitz, that's a problem, which I'm sure we'll kind of get into. But for the rest of this, I think that it keeps the majority of the population basically playing for free, getting a lot of stuff, with the whales spending a bunch of money, keeping the lights on, and only getting a little bit ahead of us for the most part.
Yeah, and I'm actually not contesting that at all. I actually think it makes sense for the integrity of the game. The problem that I see...
Superficially, it looks bad.
Not even super... I mean, ethically, it's very controversial to me in my mind, because I'm going, okay, like that's... Because they've created some sort of game within the system, now we're justifying, instead of paying $2 for a gallon of milk, now they're going, you got to pay $15 for a gallon of milk, and I'm like, okay, but I can still go over here and get a gallon of milk for $2, right? We're talking about like going to Sony PlayStation and stuff like that, right? So I'm not denying that it helps the game at all. I'm questioning the moral decision making behind it, right? Because I'm going, okay, like this is a game that people are just dumping extraordinary amounts of money on, and to kind of go back to the League of Legends thing, here's a game that you can't pay any money to get past someone else, right?
Like, for progress.
Right? There's no incentive.
Actually, that's not true.
I mean, you can buy characters outright.
But also you have things like EXP boosts and stuff like that. It's relatively inconsequential to the actual gameplay. I agree, but there's like...
Well, in most of their...
there's a way to speed up progress.
Yeah, there's a way to speed up progress, but most of the monetary income that they're receiving is all from aesthetics.
Yes.
Right? And so it's one of those things where it's... I'm all for free-to-play, but I've seen other games accomplish free-to-play from a much more ethical approach than the Marvel Strike Force. And so it's making me go, okay, maybe some other things need to be kind of entertained in order to supplement your income. If you are struggling to keep the lights on, like I understand, but something tells me Marvel and Fox Next is not struggling to keep the lights on. So for me, it's not. I'm not debating on the integrity of the game and how
the balance of the game.
The balance of the game. I'm debating on the actual business practices of the company.
But I would challenge that point to actually say, and I'm not sure if you disagree with this or not, Jingles, but I would actually challenge that point to say that it's even more ethical, because it's actually dissuading most people from buying offers. They're price gouging the top, but those whales are going to spend money on games no matter what. And so I could see that, like, okay, you're price gouging the top because you know that we're going to spend, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I see it as the lesser of two evils, because if they reduce the price by, let's say, $7 per offer, a lot more people would be buying it, and that would be dipping into the pockets of the majority at that point, rather than the vast minority. And so I think that it is actually, it's more ethical because it's keeping me from spending more than I normally probably would.
And that's the thing, is like I'm the way I'm looking at it is from outside the box, and I'm going, okay, like maybe you need to introduce another variable that helps supplement your business, right? Rather than taking this this kind of crazy offer approach that they're currently going with. But I mean that's just my thoughts on it. I'm going to continue.
Mine,
I'm going to continue playing the game because I love Marvel and I love this game. I think it's got a lot of cool
and the potential for
mechanics to it and stuff. And I've spent money on this game too. So, but it's it's definitely it resides in a gray area now for me.
Right.
So,
I think overall I would tend to prefer more of sort of a grindy paradigm where like you're rewarded for your actual efforts versus being able to actually just pay your way through it. Because if you do lower prices, you're getting more for what you pay for, but then everyone else has Black Widow, everyone has Doctor Strange, everyone has all these great new characters, and so it starts now. It's really hard to compete because everyone has all the great shit.
I would still say that it's definitely the minority of people have Iron Man though.
Yeah.
Outside of beta, I think that the
I was saying if they like somehow if they release an offer,
if they
was really
did that.
cheap for Iron Man, everyone had Iron Man, and it just cheapens everything. Everything just feels.
Because it's like I spent all this time doing this whenever I could have just thrown down money instead. And I agree.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that too.
And I was going to say, as far as skin monetization, I actually put up a post on Reddit just the other day about it. And I got some interesting responses. It kind of blew up on the thread a little bit. But there was a lot of people that were totally against it. Yeah. Because for a particular reason. In other... not only Marvel games, but a lot of other games before, but particularly apparently at Marvel Future Fight, they introduced skins, but they introduced skins with at the beginning it started with a very slight stat difference. Like, this comes to this, and then that turned into an incredibly slippery slope where it turned into whatever skin you have dictates the meta. Like, so that, and then it turned into, now I have to get the skin to do something.
And that's the thing is
you gotta be careful.
My point was aesthetics.
Yes,
right?
purely aesthetics.
Purely aesthetics.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with people spending money and so they can look different.
Right.
But if they're spending money and it's giving them an edge on other people,
and
it's considered an unfair edge, then
I think that is a very slippery slope, and I don't think that it's smart to do that at all. Only to do pure cosmetic skins. I think that would be. I think that they could do that super cheap because it doesn't affect gameplay, and that's where honestly you would get to see the real colors of their ethical business practices. Because if they don't charge a lot of money for that, then you know that they were doing it for the right reasons. But if they do charge a lot of money, then you know that they were probably price gouging. No,
I mean, we could talk about this all day. And because it is that gray area, it's very debatable. So, but I think we should probably move to the next topic. So I know this is extremely controversial. I think we're all on the same page here, but let's see what everyone thinks. But the newcomer gold change, the A/B testing.
Do you want me to go into it?
Yeah, go into it.
Okay. So basically right now the story of it that happened, or how we found out that this was happening, is kind of funny. But in a Discord that there is for Marvel Strike Force, apparently two guys were talking that were like level 30 and 40, and they were talking about how they were running out of training modules. and everyone was freaking out, like what are you? So like they have so much money, they're running out of training modules before money, and so they were like, I'm just running out of training modules. And then one of the other people in the Discord saw it, and they were like, how are you doing that? And then they found out what was going on, and that they were getting a huge gold buff for their dailies, which for Arena. And I know that the total value difference in dailies ends up being 200k. I believe it was we get 25k for the orb completion and the arena. They're getting 125k per, which makes a net difference of 200k for dailies. And so this is given to basically about every other newcomer to the game right now, because they're creating an experimental group and a control group, where they're testing out newcomer progression to catch up.
Okay, I've got two things to say.
Go for it.
Okay, Fox next. Okay, number one, these control groups and things, that's what the beta is for. Okay, so you should have done this during the beta and figured this out.
That's still a much smaller scale than what this was.
Number two is when it comes to those A/B test groups, you have to communicate that to people.
I agree.
Because finding that out through a Discord, and it is very sketchy. It is. What it does is it tells us that you, as a developer, don't trust the community with this information, right? Even if that's not the case, those actions indicate that. Where if you communicate what you're doing with the community, you could tell us that you're gonna, bend us over backwards and screw us, and we're going to be a lot more forgiving than us finding that out later on.
Plus, I'm kind of into that anyway.
Very masochist.
But yeah, it really it starts feeling like there's sort of this isn't actually the case, but it feels like there's a certain level of favoritism. Like some people are getting a leg up on other people, and so it sort of shatters the idea that this is a competitive game. Yeah. If some people are just getting random favors out of nowhere.
And one thing about games is games are fair. Okay, like that's what makes a game a game. And I know a lot of people are going, well, life isn't fair. I'm like, well, that's life. Okay? Yeah. That's not a game.
This is a controlled environment.
We play games to escape that unfairness of life. Okay, and so whenever people are getting, like Jangle said, getting favored, and they're able to say two people start at the same time. See, that's the other thing is it sounds like it's random. Like it's not like every new person is getting those
like
deals.
Every other new person.
Oh my goodness!
So there's now a whole extra layer of RNG that we did not ask for.
And now you have two friends, right? They decide to hop on the game at the same time, and now one friend is cruising past the other guy, and the other guy's going to feel kind of hopeless and lost, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want that. You want to foster a community where everyone's actively participating.
Yeah, and that is happening. There was a lot of people that commented on these posts whenever it came out, saying, "Yeah, I just started with my girlfriend or whatever, and I'm getting 125K, and she's getting 25K." Luckily, they need to re-roll until you get 125K. But yeah, I mean, like,
make another
make another account until you get the 125K.
See, that's how you know like a game mechanic's not working with people are deleting their accounts and making.
Yeah, see that's the problem. Like it does create that. And these I learned a little bit about this today. So there's basically a couple different versions of a game, and it comes down to like casual core, mid-core, hardcore, and this is considered generally a mid-core game. And these kinds of things happen all the time in the casual core games. But because typically the communities, they don't really talk to each other very much, it's very easy to slip these things in, to do these experiments silently and not have it affect anything. And I think that they are, obviously we don't have that here. We have a mid to hardcore, I would even argue. Yeah. And so whenever that comes out, people feel like slighted.
Yeah.
And as they should.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that not communicating that is a problem, but also this isn't the right type of game to do that on. And I think that by having the Marvel label on it and thinking, and probably actually having a huge population of people that are coming to it that aren't really big gamers, that are just like,
they're more Marvel fanboys than anything.
Exactly. And so like they don't care about this kind of stuff, and it is probably only really affecting the smaller population, but it's still like a pretty big slight whenever we look at the general progression. That's 200K. Gold is the bottleneck. We all know that.
Yeah.
And 200K a day would make a lot of difference.
Yeah. And the other thing to kind of, this is the thing that as developers you should always fall back on is you have a Marvel property that you're working on, right? Yeah. With that Marvel property comes a certain set of expectations. No, it does though. It does because there's certain expectations that these fans are going to have because Marvel has always, they've kind of been on the forefront of community. I mean, that's how they fostered the comics was, basically fostering this giant following.
Right.
And part of that is taking an approach of clarity and speaking your mind and making sure that people know about it, but. Whenever it kind of you try to slip it under the radar, it's gonna leave a bad taste in people's mouth, and it's gonna taint the Marvel brand. So we've already seen that with EA and Star Wars Battlefront.
I haven't played an EA game since.
No, I refuse.
I agree.
Until that CEO steps down, I'm not gonna play an EA game.
Yeah.
So.
Unless they come out with a really good game.
I mean, it has to like blow me out of the water.
Yeah,
like,
then my principles will stay the same.
Yeah. but no, it's definitely that's something that developers need to consider. Right?
Yeah, I totally agree. But I think at the same time though, I think that there is an argument to be made that these kinds of things are somewhat of a necessity in this game, these experimentations. And I think that you always are pretty much going to have a control group and experimental group.
Hey, and I'm don't mean to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
and I'm all for that, right? I'm okay with them experimenting.
Right.
I'm not okay with lack of communication.
Right.
That's the thing. You can tell me that you're going to throw a pie in my face, and I'll take it. But I'm going to be much more. I'm going to have a lot more animosity if you just surprise me with a pie in the face.
Yeah,
right?
because it made it look like they were trying to hide it, which obviously like it wasn't their intention, because it was probably just they didn't even think to tell us, because this is normal game mechanics for developers.
Yeah,
you know. But yeah, I mean that kind of needed to be, especially with all of the on Reddit, especially with everyone asking for the community manager to come out and say more to us and communicate.
Yeah.
And this kind of coming while this is all going on is kind of a slap in the face in some ways.
Yeah.
But anyways, the argument to be made, there's a lot of things that we got that other players will not get, or at least will not get for a while. And I think one of the biggest ones that I can think of off the top of my head is, which I was speaking to Jangles with earlier, is the Mega Orb. We got a free Mega Orb whenever that came out. That is worth a lot of money.
Okay, but I'm going to push back on this.
Yeah.
Because, I'm okay with rewarding people for playing the game.
Right.
I'm not okay for rewarding people who aren't playing the game so that they have an incentive to get in the game. Because you're saying, oh, all these people that put in all this time and all this grinding, they aren't to be rewarded in the same respect as the newcomers that are coming in. And those newcomers, as the raids, happen and stuff, they're going to be able to get their whatever new characters come out and stuff like that. They'll be able to get on the ball and they'll get the same rewards as the current players are getting. But I'm not in favor of rewarding new people over concurrent game.
Yeah, and I think that there's we do have to specify people that are returning and people that are starting, because this is people that are starting, not returning. There is something that is returning that we'll get into in a second, but yeah, for this, I think that it's okay. I have a problem with it if it's a permanent thing. I don't think it will be a permanent thing for newcomers. I think this is a temporary thing, and then they'll either apply it to all of us or something. I think
give them enough to get them hooked and let the addiction carry them through.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, so I don't think that this is a permanent thing, because that would be crazy. Yeah. But anyway, so this next part kind of ties into what we were just talking about. So
all right, so yeah, the next topic was the welcome back gift for select players.
Right. So
I saw that.
This one hurt me a little bit, but I also will give it some wiggle room. I'm kind of the defender of this game in some cases.
Yeah.
I think. But have you seen this? Irish?
Yeah, we got a text in our group chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically they gave out. Let me go ahead and get to it real quick. But I know it was 50.
Yeah, it was 50.
Let's see. There it is. 50 Quake shards, 50 Hawkeye shards, 2 million gold.
That was.
And 1,000 energy.
Was that's T-Dog right there? Tai.
Yeah.
He didn't get it.
He didn't get it, but
no, he didn't get it.
He saw it on Reddit and posted it in the group chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that was somebody just got that in their inbox, or did they have to pay for it?
No, a couple people have got it.
They just got it.
This is what it is. So I went and did some research to figure out what was going on with this. Because the second I got that text, I was angrily typing into Reddit, what is this? So basically what it seems to be so far, and it's literally just happened, so there's still kind of people are trying to figure out the parameters of it, but it seems like if you have been, and it seems like there's also control and experimental, but if you are returning to the game from at least 2 weeks of not playing, you get this reward as a kind of a gift as a kind of enticement to come back.
Right.
Now, once again,
that's more than 2 weeks worth of shards.
No, it's not actually. It comes
50 for each one.
It comes out to about if you were to farm each one every day from an average position, it comes down to about a week's worth of farming and playing.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not against that. Obviously,
it looks bad whenever you're looking at it.
But also, life gets in the way sometimes, and people have to leave the game, and they didn't stop playing because they wanted to.
Yeah.
It's, grandma
and
died.
return incentives are pretty normal. This one looks dramatic.
Yeah.
Is the thing. And because looking at it, I see 2 million gold in my face, and I'm like, what now? That's 2 epic drops on the gold orb. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I see that in my head. But for the other ones, it really is just only about a week's worth of farming these kinds of things, and even less in some cases. So I'm okay with it, but once again, they need to tell us that they're experimenting with a few things, what they're experimenting on, because just getting this and showing it to me, with no context, I'm like, what is going on here, people?
Yeah.
So
no, and I think that it all comes back to communication.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, if you give me a heads up, then I can mentally prepare for it.
Right.
And I can go and brush it off. But if it comes as kind of out of left field and smacks me in the face, it's just going to be it's going to be much more difficult to process.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
But yeah, that's my main point. If Fox Next person is listening, just communicate. That's all. It is. Please communicate.
With all of the money, we know how much money you're making now from the recent revenue poll.
Sit down with some of the people that are making these big decisions. Make sure, have them explain to you their reasoning, because there's smart people working at Fox Next. I mean, some of the smartest people working at Fox Next. We know they have a good reason, but just we want to know exactly what that reason is, right?
Yeah, I think just the point of being upfront with it and acting like it's not trying to be hid from us I think makes all the difference in the world. I would be much more forgiving. And before I forget, sorry, I actually did message, I put in a support ticket about this offer gift whenever I first saw it. Yeah. Because I was like, all right, I want this stuff in my roster right now. And they sent back a message. One thing I will say, I've always had amazing responses from the support team. They've always fixed everything for me. They've always given me compensation when I've asked for it, with exception of this time. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, they've been really good about that. But basically, they sent back a message saying we're testing new things with people at different levels of progression, and there will be offers in the future that are available to different types of people that are not available to others. Mm-hmm. So from that tells me there's more of this to come in experimenting, and that there's probably going to be something for the higher levels that the lower levels can't get, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. So I think we will be seeing a little bit more of this, and I know it kind of feels like we're just kind of like lab rats right now. Yeah. But I think that it's important to also give it just a little bit of leeway, because it's a fairly new game still. I know it had a beta time, but still,
just bring the stuff out to the light so we can feel like we're participating in the experiment instead of just being
having it done
experimented
to us.
On.
Yeah. And the other thing to keep in mind too, and I understand not wanting to have bias from that, from knowing that the experiment is taking place.
Right.
The people in the forums and the community is a small segment of the entire population.
Yeah, exactly.
You keep those guys happy, you're not going to have to worry about it, and it's not going to affect your
bottom line,
your control group. Right.
Yeah.
So, but I think we're all in agreement when it comes to that. Select play, just communicate. So now we're going to go into our character deep dive, and for this week we have Baron Mordo as our character.
All right.
So let's go ahead and let me tell you his description. He is a villain. He's cosmic, so you'll be able to use him in the cosmic campaign. He is mystic, so you can use him in the mystic campaign. He is a controller, and he is a martial artist. His description is a powerful sorcerer who weakens his enemies with forbidden magic. He uses the dark magic. Actually, I shouldn't say that because he may not use the actual dark magic. So there's so many different kinds of magic.
His magic's mostly yellow.
Yellow magic. Okay.
A lot of yellow-green.
So let's go and start off with his basic ability. His basic ability is Arcane Scourge. He attacks at level 1. He attacks a primary target for 100% damage, and that goes up to 190% damage. And at that level, he applies 1 to 2 random negative effects. And I believe that's to the primary target. Is that to the primary target?
Primary target.
Okay. So, pretty straightforward ability. Does damage and applies random negative effects. I don't have any experience with Mordo, but we know Jingles here does.
Jingles spent. How much money did I spend on this game?
You don't have to tell us how much money you spent.
It's like a $20 deal or something.
This was actually, I think, one of the better deals with the $20 because you had a potential. It was given to you in orbs, right?
I don't even remember how I got it.
It was orbs.
So it was orbs, and then you had enough for a couple pulls that equaled at least 45 to unlock him.
Yeah.
So I think that I
just rolled really well on those.
Yeah.
Right. But that's kind of what sorry, I know that I'm kind of interrupting for a second, but that's kind of something that I do like. It kind of gave a little more of a gamble aspect to it. It's like, all right, at least I know I'm going to unlock them, but maybe I can get a lot more. And so like for $20, that at least made a little more sense to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I preferred that offer a little bit. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so being something of the newcomer player that I am, my villains campaign has been a huge pain in the ass.
Right.
And I don't have a whole lot of access to a lot of cool villains. And so whenever I saw this guy, I immediately bought him because I realized he was going to be a huge benefit to my villains team. And he's made a world of difference. I don't know where he falls in the whole tier ranking system, but he feels like he's probably pretty high up there. So huge difference on my villains team. And as far as his basic ability goes, it seems somewhat strong. Obviously, the random negative effects are unpredictable.
Yeah,
so
the RNG aspect.
Yes. So I tend not to like too much RNG, but with him, the basic attack is semi-powerful, so the addition of negative effects just feels nice.
Yeah, I think applying that, I mean, having a chance to put on 2 negative effects on one enemy for a basic, that to me is pretty good.
And it often ends up being a defense down, because obviously there will be a taunt at some point, and so he's forced to auto-attack that taunter, but once you add that defense down and sometimes a bleed or something, that can just melt the tank eventually. Not eventually, immediately.
Yeah, I actually think that this is one of the more cool and useful autos for a support. He's a support, right?
He's a controller.
Or a controller, I'm sorry. For a controller or a support in the game, because I like the fact that he does apply that. I like the fact that there's a little bit of a RNG aspect to it. One of the things I do not like, though, is that level up cost for an ability that only gives you plus 10%.
Yeah, level 6 on his Arcane Scourge, his basic attack, whatever you want to call it. 120, what was it, purple ability enhancements?
Yep.
For 10% damage.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah. Well, it does, I think that, it's 1 to 2 random, the prior one, too.
Yeah, it's the prior one. So,
yeah. I wouldn't be against them just solidifying it at 2 random negative effects at that, and just leave it at the 10%.
I would have thought that it would have been the same as well, but
but it's still random.
That might be a little too powerful. Maybe that's why. But either way, 10% seems as your last upgrade ability. I think those last upgrade abilities should always be something a little more epic.
Yeah.
And instead, it's like plus 10%. That just feels like okay. I'm sure that you are going to upgrade that probably last.
Yeah, I don't imagine he'll have that ability for a long time.
Yeah, when purple mats are so precious, we can't be spending it on plus 10% primary. For 120.
But yeah, I mean that wraps up his basic ability, Arcane Scourge. So his next ability is his special ability, and that is called Mesmerize. Takes 4 energy, starts off readily available, and at level 1 you apply 1 blind to a primary target, but then once you max it out at level 58, it gets a little complicated, so bear with me. He has a 50% chance to apply stun to the primary target. Okay.
Instead of blind.
If the target is not stunned, apply blind to target, and there's a 50% chance to apply blind to 3 additional targets. That's pretty awesome. And then there's a 50% chance to apply slow to 2 targets. So he is this ability definitely solidifies him as a controller. Potentially getting 4 blinds off is massive. And getting 2 slows on
that's
2 targets.
That's potentially 6 blinds overall.
No, I think it's. It
says apply 1 blind, apply 2 additional blinds, apply 3 additional blinds. Yeah, that's like 6 blinds overall.
Huh. I guess it's different on the Marvel Strike Force.
Here's
GG.
we already talked about this. We did.
The
Yeah,
ambiguity
making
in
the
language?
yeah.
Yeah. What does it say on MSF GG?
What I just read off.
I think that what it's saying is that it goes up to 2, then it goes up to 3.
Huh.
Because you said it goes.
They
up.
phrased it so weird. Though.
Yeah, I agree.
They keep saying additional.
Exactly, and that's the ambiguity of the language, and they do need to kind of fix that. But yeah, so I believe that that's what they're saying. And you said MSFGG says the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I
3.
don't think it's 6. I think
Right.
it's.
I
3.
understand it. I would have read it like that too.
Yeah.
But the effect is at max rank, you're pretty much blinding the entire enemy team, stunning
The majority of the team.
Yeah,
the majority of the team. Yeah.
stunning your primary target, and then applying a handful of slows as well.
Yeah. I think really powerful. I think
Yeah.
really good ability.
Yeah.
I think that this is. Well, it'd be good in Arena and Blitz as well, but this is definitely a huge campaign destroyer right here, and a raid killer. Like,
Right.
I think that this is where most controllers shine anyways, is the campaign and raids. But yeah, I think that this rings true with that.
So yeah, make sure you if you want to learn more about Mordo, make sure you read that yourself. And
careful.
Very carefully. But yeah, that wraps up his special ability, Mesmerize. So his ultimate ability is called Demons of Denok. And at level 1, he attacks all targets, AoE, for 60% damage, and he applies heal block for 1 turn. This attack cannot miss.
I like that part. That cannot miss.
Yeah.
You hear
Super
that?
reliable.
You hear that, Black Widow? You cannot
Yeah.
miss. Okay. And then at level 6, or when you get it to level 60 on him, he attacks all targets for 210% damage. He applies heal block for 2 turns to everyone. Oh my gosh! And then this
is
attack
phenomenal.
cannot miss.
Yeah.
It is an amazing ability. In
Oh,
campaigns.
absolutely.
Especially because there's so many healers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So and that takes 5 ability energy too. So it's not even that expensive. So you can get that off, especially if you've got someone on your team that's producing energy for you.
Merc Lieutenant with Mordo is an incredible combination.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I bet. So, but yeah, that is his ultimate ability, Demons of Denok. Is there any moments that he's come in clutch for you that you can recall?
Not specific ones, but in general, there's situations where I'm at a turning point in the fight where I might win, I might lose, and by applying that heal block, I prevent the healers on the enemy team from turning the fight around, and I end up winning. But yeah, I can't think of any specific instances.
And that's one of the things that, like, there's been tons of times where my team will run through campaigns or raid nodes, but every once in a while you hit a bit of a roadblock where there's just a lot of protectors and a lot of healers, and they keep taunting you off of your targets, and then they keep healing up the targets that you were trying to get through, and you just don't have enough dispels whenever you have, especially with minion summoning, like if Nick Fury's there and he keeps summoning operatives, I think it's the operatives, the ones that turn people invisible and
you're never gonna get through it.
Exactly, it's so difficult to get through everyone, because then all of a sudden you're fighting 10 people and like half of them are protectors, and then you have healers on top. It's so hard to get to people, and especially before time runs out. So people like these controllers, Doctor Strange and Mordo, they really, really, really help out with that a lot. So very good. But on the flip side, I think that this is another ability that really would not do much in Arena at all, because heal block is one of the biggest things here, and you don't see a lot of healers, so it really wouldn't do too terribly much. And because of that, and this being his ultimate, I don't think he's not super viable for Blitz or Arena, I would say. Unless you were bringing him in as offense in Arena, or you're attacking a specific comp in Blitz.
Right.
So, yeah.
But yeah, that wraps up his ultimate ability, Demons of Denok. And his passive ability, to wrap him up, is Too Many Sorcerers. On death of any character, he heals himself for 5% of his max health. On the death of a Mystic character, he heals himself for 10% of his character's max health. Now, when it says of any character, does that mean characters enemy side as well. He heals for
even when your teammates die.
Yeah, just when your
teammates die.
No, when I think either side. That's what I've found. Is
any
anyone on either side
character.
dies, you heal up.
What?
Any character.
Yeah,
definitely
I like
any
to
character.
I like to throw him
that
in with
serious?
Doctor Strange on my Blitz runs, and yeah, he heals up pretty significantly.
Oh,
I might be completely misunderstanding what I'm seeing, but that's what I've gotten so far.
right. I mean, because you've only played with him a limited amount of time,
Yeah.
anyways. But I feel like that's wrong because it feels broken.
Yeah.
But
I
could be
think that's
wrong.
what it is. I think it's
Yeah.
on the death of any character, enemy, or ally. He heals himself.
It does say specifically enemy or ally.
No, it just says
but
death
it just
of any
says,
character.
It says any character.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm.
Ambiguity of language, though. Once again, like I
Yeah.
wish that it would say enemy or ally, but I know that a lot of times it does say ally specifically.
Yeah.
So, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that is the case because that's really strong.
Get one of your computer scientists to look at these things because that is like I spent multiple semesters like having to translate actual formulas to words, and this would come secondhand for a computer science guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely there's some ambiguity there. My assumption is that it's allies and enemies that he heals himself for, and then on the Mystics it's 10% of his character's max health. Once he maxes that out. He heals himself for 10% on the death of any character, and then 15% on the death of any mystic character.
Right.
And then he gains a ability energy whenever this takes place.
Right.
Or whenever a mystic dies.
Whenever a mystic dies. Yeah. So, but have you noticed that at all in your gameplay at all?
Especially the villains campaign.
Yeah.
When you what was it? Let me get my list of mystics pulled up. I do notice that the healing a lot, especially since I said I like to roll them with Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange tends to die a lot.
Here's another suggestion, Fox Next. Sorry, I'm throwing a lot at you today. When it comes to filtering on the roster, can you just put it in alphabetical order? Like just
Yeah, that is odd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah,
really
it
weird.
throws me off that they do that.
But okay, yeah, if you could just put it in alphabetical order, that'd be great. All right,
Yeah, super
thanks.
small print, yeah. Quality of life upgrade.
But
That's with the Mystics, especially like
Some of the most popular characters, or most popular, some of the most powerful characters are mystics. So
Yeah.
he seems to play really well against these S tier characters.
Yeah,
Yondu, Black Panther, Hand Sentry.
Well, is Yondu Mystic or is he?
yeah,
He's a mystic.
He's Mystic too.
yeah.
And Cosmic.
I know he's Cosmic.
Yeah,
He is
I thought that was
Mystic, yeah.
weird.
Wow, that is
I-
odd to me.
Yeah, I didn't think he would fit the Mystic, but I was like, okay. I'm like,
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. Okay. Also I think that's huge. Is that ability energy move applies to enemies as well. You're getting tons.
Yeah, so if you take out a bunch of mystic energies
Yeah.
or enemies at once, then you can basically just
refill
Yeah.
your entire tank there.
and he's already cheap when it comes to energy. So,
Yeah. So
his highest
pretty
energy
big.
cost is what, 4 or 5?
Five.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I know
Then
on
four.
the forums people have been saying it's not that good. You know, they've been saying he's good for campaign. You know, not that good anywhere
So
else.
here's my thing, and I'm sure the people in the forums know what they're talking about. And
Yeah.
stuff. But Mordo just came out.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and
He's got that X
I-
factor.
I
you know?
don't-
He's unknown.
unless that person, those people making these claims, can show me a Gear 11 Mordo that's maxed out,
Yeah.
then I'm gonna entertain it. But there's so many characters that I've seen so far that I'm like, oh, they're okay, and then suddenly you get them up to 20k power, and then they turn into monsters. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I think even minions are the best example of that. Like,
Yeah.
you discount minions because they're minions, but some minions.
yeah, suddenly that
They're
Merc
good.
Lieutenant that's at 19k is annihilating
Destroying
them,
Yeah.
and you're
Hand
like, what the hell's
sentries-
happening?
The hand sentry is protecting everyone,
Yeah.
and you're like, I can't kill him.
So I'm not going to make any presumptions when it comes to Mordo until he's kind of been in the game for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I like to play around with them personally too before I really put my stamp on them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, just
Looking at his stats though, he looks
just gonna say,
promising.
I think that he's really good and fantastic in a Mystic campaign.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Fantastic.
Especially one with heavy heals.
Yes. So I think that he's great in that. But
So yeah, once that Mystic campaign opens up, it's gonna be awesome.
yeah. So, but yeah, I think that he's a good character, super solid for Mystic, but not that viable in Arena or
Arena,
Blitz. That's what I would say.
So,
Summation.
But yeah, that wraps up Baron Mordo. Let us know what you guys think about Mordo. If you've picked him up, if you just went against him,
or if you can clear up any of those questions that we had as far as allies or enemies. So
but we want to hear your thoughts on Baron Mordo.
That's right.
So let's go ahead and wrap it up with the question of the day. I know we're running a little late, so we'll try to make this quick.
Yeah.
So here's the question. Now that Disney Fox deal went through, which they signed on to it, they basically kicked Comcast to the curb. And the government's going to approve it because if the government approves Time Warner,
AT&T and Time Warner, they're going to approve this one.
They're going to approve it. But what does that mean for Marvel Strike Force and by extension the MCU as a whole?
Do you want to take this one?
Go ahead, Eber.
Okay, well, for me, I think the biggest thing for the game, I think it'll just kind of expedite the process of getting these X-Men characters and
less red tape.
Yeah, and Fantastic Four. Yeah, exactly.
Because they were already doing that anyway, so it's not like it's not like they weren't working together.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not going to make too big of an impact on Marvel Strike Force specifically. I just think that it'll knock down a few logistical roadblocks that they would have had to hit.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think it's good for the game and for the MCU. That's obviously the bigger impact. I think that now having some of these broken franchises of the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, which X-Men has been really hit or miss, mostly miss.
Yeah, it was really after X-Men Apocalypse that
X-Men Apocalypse was just terrible. Yeah. And because they've had the only good ones were
Days of Future Past was great.
Days of Future Past was great. X-Men First Class I liked.
Yep, I like First Class as well.
And then obviously
I loved X-Men Wolverine.
Logan.
X-Men.
I think you did actually love it the first time you saw it.
I still love it.
Was that X-Men Origins or was it?
Yeah, X-Men Origins.
Okay.
I that's a guilty pleasure of mine, so I enjoy it.
I don't know how.
I know. A lot of people, they scoff at me, but
deservingly so.
It's I don't know. I like it. So.
Well, that was a terrible movie.
I know it's a bad movie, but I'm allowed to like it. Okay.
Yeah,
so.
but I think that the Logan was good.
Logan was phenomenal. I think it might be one of my favorite.
For me, it wasn't one of my favorite, but everyone loves it like crazy. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was like amazing, but I'm definitely the minority.
The angels definitely sing for me. So,
I admittedly am definitely the minority.
But no, and I think this is super cool, mainly for the MCU. Obviously, it's not going to change much for Marvel Strike Force. Like you said, it's just going to expedite things, but for the MCU, I mean, we're talking about potentially seeing the Fantastic Four in the same movie as the Avengers.
Yeah.
Potentially seeing
Avengers
the X-Men
yeah.
and stuff like that.
All these cool crossovers.
Yeah, and it's going to be much easier to recast characters if they start pulling them into the MCU than it would have been if they would have stood alone. In my opinion, because I know they're struggling with the Hugh Jackman recasting of Wolverine. I think it's definitely possible to recast Wolverine, but it's going to take Disney to get on top of that to make it happen.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I didn't have much faith in Fox.
The inconsistency of Fox just it doesn't give me confidence in anything that they did. I just assumed it was going to be terrible.
Yeah.
And honestly, like one of the biggest things for me is the Fantastic Four. I don't think it would have ever greenlighted another Fantastic Four reboot after the last one. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see it.
You didn't see it? Neither one of you? Wow, I unfortunately saw it.
Yeah, you told me it was bad.
Yeah,
so,
it was like, I remember the beginning, and this is like, I don't really remember much about it, but I remember the beginning was pretty solid, and then it just like
fell off a cliff.
Went like literally from still at the beginning feeling like the development to we're at the boss battle now, and it's like how did we even get here? What happened? Like, why are you even mad at us, Dr. Doom? Like, I remember it was just so convoluted, like a kindergartner made it.
So that reminds me. So that this is a big deal because not only because of Fantastic Four and X-Men and all that jazz, but we're going to get the X-Men and Fantastic Four villains coming into the MCU.
Right.
And by God, I want Doctor Doom in the
Yeah.
MCU. Doctor Doom is one of the most complex, just like anti-hero villain,
Yeah.
like in the comics. He is epic, and he's been focused on the Fantastic Four, but comics have pulled him into all sorts of different
He's all over the
timelines.
place.
He's not restricted just to the Fantastic Four. So it's going to be cool to hopefully see him alongside some of the more iconic characters that MCU has developed. So but yeah, I'm super excited for Doctor Doom. I think that brings in Galactus, right? Which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think there's another big villain that gets brought in from it, and I can't think of it.
Also brings
right
in
now.
the Silver Surfer. He's not a villain.
Silver Surfer,
is coming.
yeah. But there's a bunch of characters that come with that haven't even been made yet.
Yeah, they have a lot of low-key characters too that haven't been brought over yet. And if there's one thing that we've seen from Disney is they kind of weren't able to rely on a lot of these big-name teams because they didn't have the rights to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this goes even before Disney, I guess. But still, like, you pulled out things like Guardians of the Galaxy, which was, to my understanding,
Super obscure.
yeah, very obscure. And you have these heroes like Peter Quill, where now they're awesome characters, and they were kind of forced to look at these obscure characters and make something amazing out of them. And I think that having that kind of creativity now applied to the characters that some of the big name characters.
Yeah,
It's interesting for a lot of. Probably for the younger generations, these characters have better name recognition than like the old X-Men or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and Iron Man wasn't like
He
one
was
of Marvel's
somewhat obscure as
premier
well.
comics
Yeah.
guy. Like he was not the head of a franchise,
Right.
And now he is like the icon of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So much so that Thanos respects him as a man.
Yeah.
And a little fun fact. This is spoilers for Infinity War. We've already been through this, but
Get over it.
Tony Stark is the only person in the entire movie that Thanos confronts Thanos does not address as a child, as one of his children.
Oh, really?
That's it.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
detail.
Only
Nice.
one that
Nice.
he doesn't call like a child or boy, or anything
right.
like that.
Ronan is kind of a little boy in Strike Force, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, poor Ronan. So.
But what were you about to say beforehand?
Oh, who knows? Who even?
Caught you
I think
off
it was
with
just
my
about like name recognition. How like growing up for us, it was all about Superman, Batman, like DC and
Right.
the X-Men. That's what I remember growing
Right,
up.
right.
And Spider-Man as well. And now it's like DC. I guess DC Comics I hear are still doing
DC
really
Comics
well.
are doing incredible, but
The movies
DCEU
are
is
embarrassing.
just- Yeah.
Right.
I'm embarrassed every time I see a
Well,
DC.
and they've hired new people in charge
To restructure.
They fired Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
I mean, he got his own studio. That's what
There we
happened.
go.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely it needed to happen, and because I'll be straight up. I mean, growing up, DC was my go-to more than Marvel. I love the DC characters, and seeing them treated this way is unfortunate because I know that the DC characters have a ton of potential. So hopefully, with this new leadership, they kind of lead the way into to the light. So.
I'm a Marvel man, so I say Marvel all the way. I don't even like DC that much. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, like,
what's your? Did you watch Justice League at all, or Batman?
yeah,
Batman
yeah,
Beyond?
I saw them all. I just think that I don't like Batman as a hero or anti-hero. He's an anti-hero because I feel like he's just underpowered compared to a lot, and that happens a lot in Marvel too. Mm-hmm. But I feel like especially it just really exemplified it in Justice League whenever he literally did basically nothing in the final fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people, don't appreciate what Batman is and what he's capable of because of the DC, boot or reboot, whatever you want to call it, that Warner Brothers has been doing. I'm telling you right now, there's a movie. I think it was on Netflix. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore, but it's called Justice League Doom. Okay, watch that movie. You're gonna walk away with a full appreciation for not only the DC characters but for Batman in particular, because you realize Batman is rich. He's got cool gadgets, but he is smarter than hell.
Yeah, that's his power. Is his mind.
He is literally the greatest detective that ever lived. So,
but there's ways to do that. I don't want to focus too much on DC here. We should probably get back to Marvel. But
yeah.
I think that there is ways to do that in a movie, and I think that Marvel has exemplified that in a lot of ways where DC has failed miserably to do so because they didn't. I completely agree that is a superpower and a very underrated superpower that is critical. But the thing is that they didn't do it appropriately, and he looked legitimately useless.
And that's on WB.
Yeah,
so.
And I have no experience with the comics, as I assume the majority of people do not at this point. They don't have the experience with the comics; they have the experience with the cinematic universe.
Yeah.
So that for us is like the big thing.
Yeah. So hopefully, Disney buys WB here soon.
Just sell everything.
Just
take care of everything.
Yeah,
it'll be in a better place.
Yeah.
But back to the main thing, I just wanted to point out with Fantastic Four. I think that just kind of touching on having to bring up these obscure characters that came to light and now they're amazing. Like Fantastic Four was one of the biggest comics.
They're still probably the biggest comic in Marvel.
And so, but there's a lot of people who I would say probably are like, relatively recently born. They don't even know who the heck they are. And to them, it's all Tony Stark and the Avengers and everything like that. And so that's why it's so, I'm glad that this is happening because they're able to actually finally do. This is the only way that another Fantastic Four movie would have been greenlighted.
Yeah.
Like they would have never allowed it again after the fail for the second reboot.
Yeah.
So, I actually wouldn't be okay. I would be okay if they recasted the original, or like they kept the original four people from the reboot because I actually liked. I don't remember who Dr. Doom was. But I actually liked the people.
Well, they can't get Michael B. Jordan because he played
that's right.
Killmonger in Black Panther.
Can't double up.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you had Cable. Well, those are two different franchises.
No. I have the perfect.
Not after the signing.
Human Torch.
Human Torch.
Yeah.
Captain America.
There we go.
Chris Evans.
There we go.
There's another one. Isn't another person that's played multiple characters? Isn't there? I swear there's one more.
Chris Evans, Michael B. Jordan.
Well, this one's kind of like crossover with Jason, I guess. But what's the guy that played Thanos?
Thanos.
Josh Brolin.
So that's already he set the precedent.
Yeah. So I think it could happen. But I really liked them in their roles. But especially the guy that played.
I'm gonna go against you. I'm just gonna say just recast everyone. Honestly, and what's cool is this is an opportunity, and Guardians of the Galaxy kind of proved this. You can pick actors and actresses that aren't necessarily A-list actors, and you can make something really special and cool. Yeah. And that's the other thing is for me personally. It's gotten to a point where like if I see Tom Cruise in a movie, I go, "Oh, there's Tom Cruise." Right? I don't go, "Oh, there's
the mummy's back."
The mummy, back or whatever. But if you do that with new characters, with the new franchises, and the new opportunity, it's going to be a much more smooth and fresh start, and people are going to attach to those characters a lot easier than if you picked a bunch of A+ actors and actresses. So, but use this opportunity for creative change. It's going to be exciting. So.
Yeah, I'm glad that this is happening. That's definitely going to do it for today. We are quite a bit over our original estimates.
And I'm thinking we put in some timestamps, if people want to jump around a little bit.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm glad that we go over the schedule because that way people can kind of go to what they want.
Yeah.
Anyways, that'll do it for this episode. Go ahead and subscribe, comment to any and all forms that we have and stream it on.
And one other thing is if you leave a review on Apple iTunes, apparently that helps out a lot. So leave a review and just put in some words in there, be like it's good, and we'll take it. So
just talk about your day or something, whatever you want.
Monologue in it. But any of that is great. We appreciate all support that we can get, and we will be starting a Discord soon.
Very soon.
So that way we can try to
communicate in
get
real
a little
time.
bit more of a communications situation going. We'll probably be communicating more reliably than Marvel Strike Force's community.
I don't know if that's saying too much, but yeah, we'll take it.
The bar's low. But anyways, until next time, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.
Peace.